Chris Wiese, Managing Director of Education at CFA Institute. If you have recently taken a CFA exam or planning to, you'll want to pay close attention to some exciting updates to your score report. CFA Institute is enhancing transparency, and in this video, we'll break down everything you need to know to understand the results. The biggest change you'll see is the introduction of scale scores for all levels. Think of a scale score as a numerical representation of your overall performance on the exam. It's a standardized way to see how you did, taking the number of correct answers and transforming it into a standardized scale. This is a common practice in education and professional credentialing, and it's going to give you a much clearer picture of where you stand in relation to the minimum passing score, known as the MPS. Your score report will still clearly state your result, whether you passed or did not pass. But now, right below the result, you'll find your score. Below your score, the MPS will also be clearly indicated. This is the benchmark you need to meet or exceed to pass the exam. On the graphical representation, you'll see the MPS as a thin gray line. The dashed blue line represents the average score of all candidates who took the exam in your administration window. This can give you a general idea of how your performance compares to the group. The thick gray line is your score on the graph. If this line is at or above that thin gray MPS line, congratulations, you passed. If it falls below, unfortunately, you did not pass this time. Keep in mind that due to scaling, scores that are very close to the MPS might appear to touch or slightly overlap the line. Here is another insightful addition. The blue shaded rectangle around your overall score is your confidence interval. Your performance on any single exam can be influenced by various factors, some in your favor, some not. Maybe the exam heavily tested topics that you knew very well, or perhaps you had a particularly good day. Conversely, you might have encountered more questions on areas in which you're weaker, or you might have felt under the weather. The confidence interval is a statistical estimate of the range within which your true ability likely lies. It acknowledges that if you took a different version of the exam on the same day, your score might fall somewhere within this blue range. CFA Institute works very hard to make all exam versions equally difficult, but individual familiarity with specific questions can vary. The report offers some helpful recommendations based on your score and this confidence interval. If your score is below the MPS, but your blue confidence interval overlaps the MPS, you were very close. It suggests that with a bit more focused study, you're likely to pass on your next attempt. However, if your score is below the MPS and your entire blue confidence interval lies below the MPS, it indicates a more significant gap. In this case, substantial review, especially on areas where you perform poorly, is highly recommended before retaking the exam. You can see a topic area breakdown on page 2 of your report. This detailed report is for levels 1 and 2, regardless of your results. The same is true for level 3 candidates who do not pass. For level 3 candidates who do pass, you'll receive a congratulatory email without a score attached. Remember, your score report is your personal record. While you can see how your score compares to others, the pass or do not pass decision is based solely on whether you met the established performance standards for becoming a CFA charter holder. It's not on a curve or a relative performance. And keep in mind that while the format of the results report has changed, the grading process and the quality control measures remain consistent and rigorous, and the underlying results data used for the score reports is unchanged. The new score report, with the introduction of scale scores and the confidence interval, is designed to give you a much clearer and more comprehensive understanding of your CFA exam performance. Take the time to review it carefully and use the insights to plan your next steps, whether that's moving on to the next level or preparing for a retake. Thank you, and good luck.